Welcome back, everyone. This is part two of my interview with Jason Carusone, District Attorney, Warren County, New York. First, welcome back, Jason.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Seems like we were just here.
I feel the same way.
The reason we wanted to break this into two parts is that, and I'll set the stage again for you. Back in the spring, when the New York legislators were passing the budget, included in that budget bill, or as an amendment to it, were two things regarding criminal justice reform. One was about bail, and the other was about discovery. Now, in part one of my conversation with Jason, we covered the bail issue. And I really encourage all of you to go to our website or seek this interview out. There's a lot of very valuable information in there. But as we ended that interview, I said, we know a lot about bail. We hear about bail, we know what it is, but we don't know much about discovery. And honest, Jason, in many ways, the criminal reform affects discovery in many more important ways than maybe even bail. So let's set the stage for this from your perspective.
Sure.
Currently tell us what is involved in the criminal justice system regarding discovery, and then as a result of what was passed, what it will be like moving into 2020.
Sure. And I know discovery is a harder topic to talk about. It's harder to connect with, but
right.
Generically, under the law, currently, someone can ask for discovery. They just make what's called a discovery demand, and we have to provide that within 45 days. It's usually about 45-day turnaround for discovery in New York State. What discovery meant was photographs, videos, a lot of information, but not all information. There's other information that were given different names. Rosario, for example, that would be statements, other things that would be disclosed at different times in the case, and ultimately before any trial. The new law has taken all those forms essentially and put them under the name discovery. So discovery in 2020 is everything. That's the way I would describe it. It's virtually everything. So if there was a 911 call, that's discoverable. If there was a statement made, that's discoverable. If someone is a potential witness in a case, that's discoverable. And their adequate contact information is required to be included. All of these things, including, so let's say we get a file and it was the complete file. If there was a radio log where the police called from one radio to another and it was recorded, we'd have to get that. We had it all. Then we have to create a witness list of any potential witness in the case. We have to describe all evidence, where it was located, in what manner it was. Was it abandoned, for example? If there are any statutory presumptions for the possession, we have to include those. All the contact information, everything, and it is under the new law to be disclosed within 15 days of the defendant's arraignment.
The obvious question right out of the chute is, I know from speaking with you, a lot of agencies touch a crime.
Yes.
It could be the state police, it could be our sheriffs in Warren County, it could be Glens Falls Police, correct?
Sure.
It doesn't even sound physically possible for me in this day and age to put all of that discovery together within 15 days. I mean, it may seem really obvious, but am I wrong?
No, it may not be possible. It may not be physically possible. And unfortunately, because of the timing of the law, we were given a little more than 6 months to implement all of this and get our whole system ready to go in January. You point out, beyond what you just said, all the Warren County agencies, if we get big crimes, right. I get forensic investigative units that come. I get computer crimes involved out of Albany. I get the New York State Police Lab. I may need expert witnesses. The list grows very rapidly. People may not realize, but the response to our most serious and violent crimes are massive. And there are agencies you may have never heard of. There's agencies that come and fly a drone to give us drone footage. We would now need to gather all of that from all of those agencies and departments and areas, put it together, and get it disclosed in the 15-day window. It's exceptionally difficult. What I have done, and the men and women in my office, is we have completely altered the way we're handling cases. As soon as this law came out, we started looking at it, examining it, realizing what we were facing. And we've digitized our entire office files, and that's been literally hand scanning, uploading, trying to learn a new system, build a whole new system. We've created a portal so that law enforcement can directly get us the information. We're working with the New York Prosecutors Training Institute out of Albany that helps prosecutors. And we're using software that they've developed, and they continue. This is up in development as we speak. Things are changing. So this is all being put together in an effort to help police get us all the information that they need to as fast as possible. It didn't seem possible on a paper method and with thumb drives
sure, of
and
course.
CDs and cassette tapes. So we've gone fully digital. We have a way to fully turn things over securely to defense. Saying all that, those systems are still being built. I mean, we didn't have a lot of time. So we're trying to generate this complete alteration in the way we do things, and obviously it's going to have a massive impact on law enforcement. I do want to say Warren County, our county, well, the budget did not create funding that was sent out and said, here's funding that you can use to get more prosecutors and more police and more people to do all this labor. Our county has stepped up in two ways. One, the supervisors voted and passed a resolution where they, as you indicated, sent it to Albany saying, slow down, let's build a system, let's make sure we do this right. Because if you really believe it's for the defendant's rights, then you're going to want to make sure we can implement it properly. And the other thing is they have provided additional resources for the agencies in Warren County to try to meet these burdens. And just as an aside, this went into that state budget occurred during our budget cycle. So Warren County goes a January 1 cycle. So we didn't suddenly have new employees hired and ready to do all these new jobs and new tasks. So we're doing it all with what we've got right now, but the county has afforded us the ability to get some more help starting January 1.
You know, and I think just chasing what you're saying there, you're taking your existing resources and asking the people who otherwise would be working on defendants' cases, right? On your cases and protecting defendants, to get them to actually help you transition into this new digital era, to try to be able to be more efficient, to try to meet those kinds of deadlines. Well, none of that actually seems to make sense to me, you know?
Well, I mean, as a prosecutor, your job is to enforce the laws that you're given. These have been given to us, and we're doing everything we can to make sure, because what ultimately is going to suffer is the cases and the victims, and we're trying in all our power to prevent that from happening. That's our biggest concern. Law enforcement, I met with many members of law enforcement. This is a huge strain on them. This is a monumental shift in the way they do business, these time frames and these what's required of them. It's put great pressure on them, and they're doing everything in their power to get ready. But as you know, changing a whole system in what frankly is such a short period of time it's a challenge. I mean, it's a huge challenge, and it absolutely draws resources. Every day I'm at work, I'm working on these issues every single day, and it creates a lot of strain on those that are responsible for things. You have to do a certificate of compliance on every case now, where a prosecutor has to say, I am aware of all the information that the police have. I've obtained it through due diligence, and I've disclosed it, all in that 15-day. There's no document, a certificate. We're creating certificates of compliance. They didn't exist. We have to list everything that we're turning over in that short turnaround. We have to create the witness list. And all that starts with the police. They have to get us everything. To do that, that means less time on the street enforcing the law and more time at the desk trying to gather the material, get the 911 calls.
You know
things
what?
Like
I want to circle back on one thing.
Sure.
In putting together discovery, and I'm sure by now all of us have figured out that discovery is really putting together all of the evidence for a case, which is enormous. Everything from blood tests to witness statements to could be tapes, it could be all kinds of things. But doesn't it affect a potential witness also, in that if the discovery has to be so comprehensive, is not the right word,
That's
but
a
you know
great
what I
word.
mean?
Absolutely.
Is they may be afraid to come forward.
Well, I think there's two things with witnesses that we haven't touched on yet. Number one, under the new law, we are required to give a list of any potential witness that would have relevant information in the case and adequate contact information for them within that
makes
15-day
sense.
window.
Okay.
So if you are the victim of a crime, your name and your contact information is going out. If you're a witness who happened to be nearby and saw or heard something, your name and information are going out. Now, people on the street also have the option, because we've seen this, unfortunately, to say, I'm not doing that. I didn't see anything, because of fear of reprisal, fear of what's going to come their way. The other thing that I haven't mentioned, the new law includes a provision that a defendant can get access to the location of a crime and have it for inspection, which doesn't sound so bad at first blush, but we deal with cases where children are the victims of sex abuse, women are the victims of rape, sometimes in their own home. Under this new law, a defendant, and defendants can represent themselves, can make application for access to the home where that victim was raped, where that child was sexually abused, where that burglary occurred, where bail can't be set, where they or their attorneys could be entering your home to make inspection. That's part of the new law. And obviously there are some real grave concerns that victims will no longer wish to come forward.
Of course, it just, whoa, big topic, right? Here's what we can do. Let's support our law enforcement. Let's support the DA's office. Let's contact our representatives and let them know how we feel about this. Reform, as it stands, is always a good thing. You should always take a good look at any law and see if you can improve it, right? See if you can change it. But the time frame, it seems to me, and I'm sure it seems this way to a lot of you, I think this is being rushed. For whatever reason, it's being rushed, and that our part should be to really contact those that represent us and support our law enforcement and give the opportunity for reform to actually be reform.
And I think it's important to say exactly what you said. We're not here saying we're against reform or change or making smart decisions with the law. And you've got to be open-minded because the goal is to be just, right? We're always trying to make sure we're fair to all sides, the accused, the victims, but we want to make sure that public safety isn't at risk and that we're doing things in a smart way and with a lot of forethought in advance. So when you're making a big change to the law, we would love to be a part of those conversations and say, what makes the most sense? Have everyone at the table and figure it out. It'd be a great opportunity if we had a chance to do that before this starts January 1st. If we don't, we're going to do our very best to implement it. But I think it is important that you're letting the public know what many don't know, which is this is coming and it's a radical change to where we were.
Yeah, good. Great to talk to you, Jason. Thank you so much.
Yes, I appreciate it.
Okay, part 1 and part 2 are on our website and our other platforms, so please check it out. This is a very important topic. And you can see this interview again by going to our website, looktvonline.com.